Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a new The Blacklist Season 10 theory discussion. Okay, so there is no episode this week.
No.
NBC cares about golf. Somebody still cares about golf, everybody. There's your golf clap. But Season 10, Episode 18, Wormwood, will be coming up next week. And based on where we are in the season right now, it's pretty much established that Arthur Hudson is the main adversary, and I say this mockingly because I still do not like you or care about you. You are still milquetoast, but guess what? You're what we got, so we got to deal with it.
Yeah, he is seemingly the person who is really the biggest foe for Reddington, for the task force, possibly for Agnes. I mean, we have a lot to talk about here because this whole video, even though there's no blacklist this week, we're still bringing you a video, of course. We're not going to go a week with no blacklist or at the end of the season. And we haven't really gotten into what is Hudson's motivations and what this could actually mean for the task force, for Reddington. Could something happen to Agnes because of what he's doing? Could Red end up in jail? I mean, there's all kinds of things that could end up happening.
Good
old Hudson.
Number 2, Arthur Hudson. See, that's still not even confirmed, by the way, but
it's not confirmed, just so everybody knows.
But it seems like that's probably where they're going, and
yes.
A big impetus for this video is really just like, okay, if you guys are actually going to put this man at number 2, there's got to be a good reason, and we'll get into all of that. But, before we get into that, just like we have a new Blacklist video here on YouTube this week, we also have a new Blacklist video over on Patreon this week. Check that out. The link for the Patreon is in the description below, and this is all about, is Katerina Rostova alive? What's all of the evidence that she's out there? This is a topic that we just love discussing, and we are already looking very much forward to all the Patreon comments over there.
Listen, we know that this is a really hot topic. Is she alive? Is she Reddington? Is she somebody else? All of that is going to be in our Patreon video. We have 6 or 7 Blacklist videos over there right now.
Yeah.
We've got weekly videos going on over there for the rest of the season. So, we would really appreciate it if you joined our Patreon. You get all these videos. You help support Matt and I to be able to continue bringing you videos here at the channel as well. And thank you to all our Patreons.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Okay, so what is Hudson's end game here? What is it that he actually wants?
It's a complicated sort of question to answer because I think, and we've seen this in the comments here or there too, this idea of, okay, Hudson's not really a villain. He's not really a bad guy. He believes that what he is doing is just and right and for the sake of...
Sure he does.
But it's also for the sake of yourself, Hudson. You are a little bit sure you may get justice, but you're also a selfish tool who's just trying to use this to go further up on the food chain.
Well, also who's to say that, his justice, where he's getting justice, whatever it is he's going to do to Reddington or wants to do to Reddington is more valuable than what Reddington has brought to the table as well, because he has brought, almost 200 blacklisters to the table for the task force to take down. I mean, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
200. You know what I mean? I don't know that Hudson really sees the big picture.
No, he does not. But here's the good news, everybody. I'm seeing the big picture. I have figured it all out. I know you guys come here for the direct answers that I never get wrong in any of these videos.
Hey, you've had some wins.
I've also had some L's. Do we need to...
I've also had some L's. I mean, it's possible that this whole video is going to be brought to you by the letter L, but we don't know yet.
Wait, you got everything that was going on with Marvin last season. I was sitting around yelling about Panna Bacon for 2 months, but okay. Tinfoil hat time, everybody.
Tinfoil hat.
All right. Here's the thing. This has been something I've thought a lot about over these past couple of days in general, because one of the biggest questions that I've had for really this entire season is, why are we seeing so much Agnes? Like, why is she in almost every episode? We see Reddington going off and doing things for her,
Mhm.
and really them putting a lot of effort into establishing this relationship further. Now, for a while, I thought, okay, maybe Agnes is going to be like taken by somebody and Reddington is going to like turn into Liam Neeson. But ultimately, I don't think Hudson is going to become a villain from Taken. Like, I don't think that's where we're going. However, what if everything that happens with Hudson ends up leading to Agnes being effectively taken away, put into the system, because ultimately she is spending time with a criminal mastermind. And, there's,
Top 10 most wanted.
yeah, like there is photographic proof now of, Reddington and DEMBE. Everything can be connected back to Cooper. Just the presumption here could then be made that, okay, Cooper's really close to Reddington. Does this mean that Reddington is really close to this, young girl who Cooper is taking care of? And then we have the cooking video. Now, I actually was not a proponent of the time of like Reddington may have been on camera for a split second, but now that I'm sort of going down this rabbit hole, now I'm just sort of like, oh, if he was, this is definite proof that Reddington and Agnes are spending time together in a casual environment. That is really not good. That is something that would send flames out of Reddington's ears, because if we know there's one thing he cares about more than anything else in the world right now, it is Agnes. Him losing Agnes would put Hudson to number 2 on the blacklist in a split second.
Absolutely. Now, do I think that they're going to come in and take Agnes from Cooper and Charlene, who are, pillars of the community, part of the FBI,
Yeah.
I mean, loving parents. I don't think that that's going to happen. Like, I can see that they would check to see what's going on, and Reddington will make himself sort of scarce. Even with the video, I'm sure he could be like, oh, it's doctored, whatever, I don't know this person. Like, he always finds a way out of it. I don't think we're gonna end with that, especially with Hudson already kind of being in that position where he had been taking care of this young woman who ended up in the system because he put her parents away and felt bad and wanted to help. And, is he going to go down that road again? Like, how much sort of guilt can he carry with him?
Now, before I have to transform myself into Russell Crowe at the end of Gladiator, I do not want this thing. Do not come with me with your swords and your other Roman Colosseum era weapons. I'm not rooting for this, but it's just something that I am particularly afraid of, because I feel like they need to establish more conflict in this final season, right? They need to establish some higher stakes for Reddington beyond just another schmo trying to investigate him.
No, and I mean, throughout all of the Blacklist, there's definitely been themes of, foster care and adoption and, different types of blended families and stuff like that. I mean, that's definitely been a very heavy theme. I mean, we just saw with Sia as well that she had found out that she was adopted. But okay, we're going to get into where I think Hudson is trying to go with this, and that's he wants Reddington arrested. I mean, he said in this past episode that he was just kind of like, man, like this guy, top 10 most wanted, that everybody's been looking for and trying to bring down, like he's the top dog. He's just been, possibly working with the FBI. Nah, he's going to jail. That's what's going to be happening with him. I don't care what he's done or what he's helped or whatever. His time is now. And I think that's what he's going after. He's going after the arrest. That it's about the money that's being spent, but really I think he's sitting there kind of being like, we look foolish if we've been working with this guy, no matter what he's offering, because everybody on the blacklist is not in the top 10 most wanted. They're not Reddington, right? So, I mean, yeah, you can have a bunch of smaller guys or you can have the guy.
All right, Arthur Hudson, I got a couple of things to say to you, because I do think you're right. I do think he wants Reddington arrested. If something happens with Agnes, it's probably just another component to all of this.
Yep.
But Here's the thing, Hudson. From a power standpoint, I understand what you're doing here. I'm not oblivious as to how Washington D.C. works. I've watched enough West Wing adjacent shows to understand all of this. You want the trophy, and Reddington being arrested is a huge trophy that you can use to pat yourself on the back. It goes great on a campaign ad. I took down the FBI's money-wasting task force. But here's the thing, Hudson. You're also kind of a dum-dum if you think that this is going to be just putting Reddington behind bars and then that's the end of it. Because Reddington is a zombie. And I don't mean this in like he's a Walking Dead zombie where he's just like, where's my fedora? But I mean it more like you can't get rid of him. He always comes back. You put him in prison. We've already seen what happens when you put him in prison. Like, he always comes back. If you are after this, you need to just like, what do you do to take out a zombie? You just like to like stick it right in their head. Like, you got to do something like that to Reddington to make sure he's like fully gone.
Yeah. I don't think that we're going to see this series end with him in jail. I don't. We've already seen that storyline. I just don't think that that's how it's going to end. But I do think that that's Hudson's goal is to be like, hey, you know, I found a way to stop government spending and I put away, you know, Reddington, yay, me, sort of thing, that he thinks he's doing the right thing. I think that's his ultimate goal. Do I think something could happen to Agnes as a result of that? It's possible, but I mean, if Reddington is put away in jail, I mean, is Agnes really need to like, you know, be taken away? Like, I don't think it's gonna go there. No. However, one thing that I do think Hudson is going to accomplish is dismantling the task force. I think that that's all going to be pulled apart. And I think it's going to be multifaceted. I think that there's going to be some Hudson influence, but I also think there's going to be a lot of Reddington influence in him deciding that he's given as much as he can. There's too much heat with Hudson. Like, everything just needs to stop. He's already erased himself from the system. He's not really part of it anymore. I think a bunch of these factors are all going to come together, and the final is going to be that they're dismantled.
Yeah, this is, I think, what makes this video kind of funny is we're talking about all these different scenarios for what Hudson could accomplish, what Reddington could be afraid of. And I think at the end of the day, most of these are not going to happen because I think, you know, I don't think Reddington's going to get arrested either. I don't think in my heart that Agnes is just going to be pulled away forever. But no. This could very well happen. I could easily see this because it's also Pete Cooper and Wrestler. They got to be like looking at like their hard copies of the Blacklist and be like, there aren't a lot of people left on this anymore. And we know that it's canon because Reddington said, you know, back in season 8, I'm putting Liz at number 1 on the Blacklist. She's going to be at the top. So we know that the list we're seeing is at least close to the list the task force is seeing. So they have to understand already anyway that they're probably near the end of all of this. And it doesn't have to be their whole lives. And I know that may be hard for like Wrestler to hear because Reddington has seemingly been his whole life, but this is just a chapter of your guys' lives at the end of it. You can move on and do other things.
Absolutely. We also have a video over on our Patreon, which is sort of like all about the end game of each of these characters and where we think they're actually going to end up in the finale, which was, you know, a really fun discussion because there's a lot of different ways that this could all go. But speaking of end game, what's going to happen to Hudson at the end of all of this? Like, is he just going to come out the victor? That if it is like, I put Reddington in jail, mwahaha, is there going to be nothing that happens to him?
I don't need him to be killed off because it just feels like that's a little bit too extreme, but
no, he doesn't need to be killed off for this.
No, I think it's going to be a situation where maybe he gets a little bit of what he wants. Maybe ultimately the task force is shut down. He does go on a little bit of a victory lap about that, but everybody's still employed elsewhere. Everybody still has jobs. Reddington is still out there. He doesn't really get that much, but he's basically put in a position where almost like our old senator friend from earlier this season. There's nothing he can really do to move forward with it anymore. And everybody else just kind of gets this opportunity to go on and find the next chapter in their lives. I just don't, regardless of however ambitious and seemingly somewhat effective Hudson is, he can't be the undoing of this show. Like, he cannot be the biggest, most threatening person I have ever seen. I will not believe it. I will lose my mind over it. You know, if it's not going to be Neville or Mr. Kaplan, Hudson, no.
No, I think he's going to have a somewhat victory. I do think the task force is going to be pulled apart. Like I said, a little bit of him, a little bit of Reddington, maybe even a little bit of people on the task force being like, yeah, the list is almost done. Reddington's not really bringing us a lot of cases anymore. It's time to wrap it up. We've done the best that we can, sort of thing. But I think Hudson will get a little bit of a win. I don't think he's going to actually get Reddington, put away or anything like that. And I think he'll just go on doing what he does. Like, I don't think there's going to be any big standoff or, he's going to get killed off or anything like that. I don't think I'd be happy with watching that, even though he's not a character that I care about at all. I'm not rooting for him, but like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense that if he's pulled apart the task force and Reddington's gone, like, what threat is he anymore?
Yeah, it's just a little bit too macabre to go that sort of way. And I know that this is a very dark show.
It is.
And in general, it also is very bizarre that we are like a handful of episodes from the series finale, and here we all are wanting for this like well-known criminal and killer and purveyor of all these bad things to not die and end up being happy for this. We're all like, go Reddington, you do this, you get away with everything. But it's just
Listen, we're all invested in him. It's been so many seasons, and he's done terrible things, of course. He's a criminal. Like, yes, he has. However, he's also done a lot of good things.
Yes, this is not Walter White. I think that's something we should all remember at this point. Okay, well, we will be back to discuss episode 18, Wormwood, very, very soon. But as we've set out, check out our Patreon, link in the description below for our big discussion on Katarina. Thank you to everybody who is supporting us over there so far.
Thank you.
We got to go get on our hard hats. And
everybody put on your hard hats for that conversation, because there's going to be a lot that's in there.
Yay! Okay, all right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.